That guy calls himself JamessMK. Oh yeah, that motherfucker smokes 2 packs a day. I heard he's got his own show now. Oh yeah? Yeah, it's growing real fast. And now everybody's gonna be that guy calls himself JamessMK, and that DarKNaTaS, he know how to play.
What up, guys? Welcome to the 33rd episode of the On Blast Show. I'm sick as shit right now, but what's up, Mr. Molina? Running around with 100 and some odd fever, drinking lovely NyQuil all day. Plenty of fluids and all that other good shit. And I got this shit, which hopefully will keep me talking as long as I can tonight. What's up, Mr. Toro? What's up there, Trepound? Yeah, Mission Start Podcast. I will, you know what? Do me a favor. If you can, if you have Skype, add me on Skype with JamessMK with the 2 S's. And you can send me that there, or I'll check and pick through while I have NaTaS talking for a while and see if I can pick up that message you were sending me. I will feel as good as I can, Crystal Cage, and I appreciate it. Tonight, I've asked if you follow the wonderful world of the Twitterverse. I've reached out to absolutely everybody and anybody that is a top dog, big member, tournament organizer, commentator. I don't care if you're a guy that builds controls, breaks controls, or talks shit 24/7. If you want to come on this show and vent with some of the going-ons of the community that have gone on lately, and this is not directed just towards Mortal Kombat. This is to any game out there in the FGC. I will give props today. I had spoken to Jeb Bailey. He's not available, but he will be available next week for us. So we will have Jeb Bailey on here. I have, he goes by the name of Chris Warpticon, I believe it is, on Twitter. We'd exchanged some words during one of my tirades of the Twitter universe as far as the donation drive and all that stuff that transpired. Basically, you know, what it comes down to is I'm giving everybody out there that had thrown, excuse me, thrown a lot of negativity, including myself. I'm not far from innocent on the negativity. But one thing I will say is 2 wrongs don't make a right, and this ain't me getting soft. But the fact that I found it ironic that people were throwing death threats at me on the down low. I mean, magically, guys, if in case you didn't know, there's a couple of Twitter accounts out there. Everybody sees my little guinea pig on the screen there for my icon in the Twitter world. OBS Gerbil MK is not me. And OBS underscore.
What?
Yeah, somebody. There's been accounts cloned of me. There's been accounts of people throwing shit at me threat-wise. I found it ironic that for people who were supposedly doing a donation for cancer, were actually wishing me cancer. I really got a kick out of that. But, you know, sorry guys to burst your bubble. I smoke 2 packs a day. If I get cancer, it's going to happen. I wouldn't wish it on anybody no matter what. But the fact that you said it to me set me off on a tirade where I have to, I owe apologies to Arturo Sanchez, also Vic with Team Spooky. They kind of became a casualty of the Twitter war that was going on. I do not apologize to SRK members. As you see, I've taken my SRK marker, I guess, or logo off of our page. The fact that I felt like I was being attacked, basically other people were sending their little minion out after me that they didn't like what I was saying, I guess for their PR purposes. What I simply stated in the beginning was a simple question. I wanted to make sure the money goes to where it's going. I know for a fact a good friend of mine who is a big head in the Mortal Kombat community, 9.95 Phil, had done 24-hour charity streams year after year, and he's always made sure the money goes direct to those charities, and I wanted to make sure that something similar was happening, that the money wasn't going to be passed across to back to the people who do the charity, the fundraiser. And, you know, it's, in my opinion, I don't give a crap what anybody says. I think it's a legitimate gripe. The East Coast thing, I've heard everything from people tell me that, pardon my French, I know Miss Crystal Cage is in here. I don't know if there's any other women in here, but I've been called a pussy because I wouldn't travel to from East Coast to West Coast to get Evo points. Or I could go to Florida, or I can go to Toronto. Let me state the first thing. When people have said that Toronto is a East Coast qualifier, you are incorrect. It is an international qualifier. They have to submit for international Evo qualifier points. So basically that left Florida and Florida alone, which was Jeb Bailey's. I can understand where he would defend it. But the fact of the matter is there were no East Coast qualifiers. I am going to hit into that a little bit more later on. For now, I'm going to fill up with some NyQuil, some Chloroseptic, some soup, a little juice, and I got some tea with honey in here, so hopefully it'll let me have my big mouth all day. With that said, Natus, I'm going to give you back the mic for a little bit, and let me know when you're done.
All right, what's up, guys? Another edition, 33rd episode of the show. Quick rundown of the sites, all the supporting sites: Mortal Kombat United, Testamite, also Smack, MK Bible, The Gamer's Edge, DB Mugen, MK Server, the Video X Games, Dominion Myth and Gaming, if they ever come back, Mortal Kombat Online, TRMK, Ultra Sweat Cables, Combat Network, MKMP Form, MK Universe, Empire Arcadia, Total Mortal Kombat, Pro PC Gaming, Emperor's Realm, and PutThatBack.org. Guys, we got a few things going on tonight. As just a little while ago, there was a big announcement that was posted somewhere. I don't know if anybody caught that, but we will be repeating what was said in a little bit on what that major announcement was. It has to do with the East Coast. It has to do with some major shit. It's minor details, but we will be exposing, or not exposing, we'll be putting that out there to let people know what is going on, because everybody needs to know this, and it's some very good, exciting news. On a side note, guys, the On Blast show is now officially partnered with Twitch. It took God knows how long to fucking get a partnership with Twitch. The effect hasn't kicked in yet. We sent a reply back with them. By next week, we should have the reply. So next week, you guys should be able to have the chance to change your video quality to. Well, we stream at 720, so you guys can stream at fucking 480, 360, 240 for all you shit internet connection people out there. So whatever quality you guys want, by next week, all that should be all set in stone. Maybe we might get a little money. We probably won't get hardly shit from this anyway, but it's something nice to have. It's something we deserve. We are also, I haven't just got a chance to discuss this yet, but we are also working on partnering up with somebody on YouTube. The current companies right now who we are in discussions with are Usearch. I can't pronounce the fucking name right. Usearch, Fullscreen, and Machinima. These are the three biggest groups that we are talking with, and we are going to take it from there and see what happens and see who bites and who's interested and what happens. I have to admit, guys, Machinima is the biggest gaming group out there. If we are looking to evolve, I feel Machinima will probably be one of the best places to go to. But Usearch, I can't even pronounce the fucking name right. You guys know what I'm talking about. And Fullscreen are also like the second biggest groups out there. So it's a way to help build the brand and build the name and spread the word, because there are millions of people out there who do not know about OBS, do not know about the On Blast show, and we would like to get the word spread out there even more to let people know. So, yes, currently we are in talks with those three people there. There might be one other one I might be in talks with, but those are the three, and as of now, we are now partnered with Twitch also. So the Twitch stuff will go into effect probably in the next couple days. You guys will see that next week. Other than that, second thing, shout out to everybody who wished me a happy birthday yesterday. I had a very big, overwhelming support on that. I just turned 32 years old yesterday.
You're an old man.
Yeah, I know. My back is so fucked up right now. So, yeah, I had a whole thread of MKU that was made for me. I thank everybody from Mortal Kombat United for the thread that they made. Facebook, I got Twitter messages and text messages from a lot of MK players and a lot of my friends and family. So, definitely big shout out to everybody. Thank you for that. Other than that, we got Valentine's Day kicking up in 2 more days. So, I expect a lot of people to get to spend their time with their loved one and make some babies and drop some seeds and
relax on that.
And get a few gallons. All right, there you go.
Relax with that. No babies.
Hey, I'm working on the baby stuff right now, also,
You
man.
already got it, don't you?
I got one. I'm trying to work on another one.
One's enough, man.
I thought the same thing also, but my spouse has no kids and she wants a child, so you know.
So tell her to go to the park and just take one.
No, it doesn't work that way, man. Yes, but there will be lots of women receiving gallons on Thursday. And with that said, take it back to James. Go ahead, James.
Okay, first thing I want to talk about, which has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the FGC.
Oh, wait. Before that, guys, make sure you guys retweet. Let everybody know. Like I said, we have a major announcement. It was breaking news that just went off about like 30, 40 minutes ago. I don't know if anybody's even aware of it yet, but we're going to be announcing that soon. So please retweet.
All right, with that said, this has nothing to do with the fighting game community. This is more Intuned, a friend of mine. He just started a YouTube thing for all you Call of Duty players out there. Their Fox 2, which is what their site is on YouTube, and it's PHOXX.
Hey James, my girl didn't like that comment you said.
What?
She just typed in the chat.
Did she? I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Vaginas. I'm gonna put it in here because I can't fucking read. Apparently, I'm getting higher by the minute. All right. These are guys that they're big Call of Duty guys. I'm going to start incorporating guys for a Call of Duty group into OBS. I figure it's about time we start spreading our wings a little bit.
I thought we already were.
Well, we haven't hit the Call of Duty world.
Oh, all right. I think we got Tekken and
we got Tekken, yes.
Marvel.
We got Tekken, we got Marvel right now. We're gonna move from the fighting games. We're gonna start bringing in some other guys as well. So, all you Call of Duty guys out there, I do want to put a team together, and I would like to put a team together fairly quick. And if this includes sponsorship in a term of real sponsorship, I want the best of the best, and I want to go stick one up MLG's ass. And in a nutshell, I want OBS to make a stand at MLG. There's no reason why we can't. The other thing I wanted to mention is congratulations to, I never say his name right, but we're going to try to get, I believe it's Lolz or Lolz who just won a tournament this past weekend for MK down in Virginia. Once again, OBS repping. So that means you too, my friend, will be getting a, as you can see here, the OBS sweatshirt. So just get me your size and everything. And if you're coming up to Winter Brawl, let me know, and I'll make sure you get it by Winter Brawl. Getting a lot of these hoodies handed out, man. It's just going to show that MK is not dead, and the top players are proving themselves worthy in this. I really haven't hit much about Injustice on this show because I kind of.
No, we have a few times.
Yeah, but I try not to go too in depth, only because of the simple fact that one of the things, I guess, maybe being involved in it.
Look, it says we're playing Injustice right now on the top.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I don't go into it head over heels because the game's not completed. I like to give the guys that are developing the game the time they need, rather than hear 16 million people say they want Plastic Man and they want fucking Blue Beetle, Black Beetle, Green Beetle, Purple Beetle, Flash, Flash's sister, Superman's uncle, Blue Balls, whatever the hell the characters are. Let the guys make the game. I can guarantee you this, knowing a lot of these guys on a personal level, you will like this game. And in my opinion, this should be the first game. The first fighting game out there.
You heard, James?
What's that?
ChrisG wants his hoodie. Where's his hoodie at?
ChrisG's getting a hoodie.
All right.
But what it is I want to make sure that everybody realizes this game should be the first game that will bridge that gap between Capcom and the MK world. If all things work out the way I suspect it will, you're going to see both players coming over to play this game, and not just for the fact of the block button being removed, but I also warn a lot of those Mortal Kombat top players out there, you're stepping into a new world when you play Street Fighter players. One of the things I've noticed over Street Fighter players, over the Mortal Kombat players, is egos. The egos that you see are a lot more Hollywood than the Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we got our Hollywood guys. I'm not going to mention names. But definitely I see this game making a big mark in the fighting game community. And Justin May, don't worry, I am not one of those idiots. Just so you know that. And I will say wholeheartedly, I've never hit it, and I don't like to talk politics on this show, but my ass didn't vote for Obama. But anyway, yes, Street Fighter has a Hollywood community. Mortal Kombat does too. By the way, speaking of Hollywood, I do believe it's Pig the Hut's birthday too. So we'll shout out to Pig if I'm correct.
I think wait, I'll verify it for you right now. Yes, it is.
Damn, I'm good. I must be the Illuminati. I know I even know people's birthdays.
Yeah, it came up on Skype for me earlier.
So happy birthday there to Pig the Hut.
Yeah, I don't know if he's watching right now, but
No,
happy
I know he's
birthday.
doing. He actually messaged me. He's doing work on something. So,
Okay.
but so a big shout out to him. Happy birthday. Also, to all those people out there with that. Oh God, I see the Obama love. Oh God, you're lucky. You're lucky I don't ban things in this show. As I said, I am sick tonight. And my ass does got to go to work, and Natus has got to go to work. His hours are changing.
Oh, they bank changed, man.
The
Fuck me over.
show may, pending on how things turn out over the next couple of weeks for both of us, it'll never disappear. It might get a little shorter. It won't be these till 5 o'clock in the mornings, but I'll go as long as I can. Supposedly, if I get the gig that I'm actually supposed to go into, I'll be working at Madison Square Garden again, which means I got to work every Knick game, every Liberty game, every boxing match, every show. So the hours get kind of wacky for me. But if I don't get the gig, I'll still be able to do what I'm doing. And the WWE Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So anyway, with that, I am going to reach out right now to one or two people. I'm going to first try to reach out to Warpticon, see if you're ready. And I'm going to add you in here.
Actually, do you want to make the announcement yet?
Oh, yeah, I'll make the announcement.
Do you want to try to get him on?
Yeah, let me get Warpticon on for us first.
Okay.
Hello.
Yo, you there?
Can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, man.
We hear you. What's up, man?
Yep, we hear you perfect.
All right, good.
All right. So let's roll back a couple of days. I had made some statements that were.
Wait. Before you do that.
What?
Warpticon, could you just give us a couple minutes of yourself and who you are, and for people who don't know who you are and stuff like that?
All right. I am a dude who plays video games and enjoys them. Some of them involve fighting. I've been around for, my first fighting game was, of course, Street Fighter 2. I moved on to Mortal Kombat as that came out. And I've been playing basically since Street Fighter 2 was 1992. So yeah, I've been playing for over 20 years now. Have a small local scene here in Little Rock, Arkansas. That basically didn't exist prior to 2009. We've been working real hard to try to turn that into something bigger and develop our own scene. I play a lot of games. I don't really consider myself part of the Mortal Kombat scene in the sense that I don't really play it hardcore, but that's more situational than anything. I do like the game, and I am planning on getting back into it later on this year, but I've had situations come up that kept me from being able to play it like I want. But I really am just a dude who likes to play games and wants to develop a scene where there are more good players to play against, and that to me that's what growth in the scene represents to me.
Okay.
And I agree with you on that 100%. And if you say you play Mortal Kombat a little bit, in my eyes, that's enough to say you're part of the scene. One of the mistakes that a lot of people like to say out there is, because you don't play a game 24/7, for some reason you're not part of the scene, or if you don't go to tournaments, you're not part of the scene. If you take pride in whether it be tweeting about it, if you do write-ups on web pages about it, if you join the forums, if you play the game, you're part of the scene, you're part of the community. One of the biggest problems that I find with a lot of people out there is they're too eager to put themselves in a position saying that they're not part of it because of the fact that they don't go to tournaments per se every week. Let's be real. Some of us, including myself, can't afford to go to every tournament, a tournament a week. That by no means makes me any less of a tournament player as compared to a Justin Wong or a PR Balrog or a CD Jr. or a Rio. It's just a matter of recognizing that the scene as a whole is not that specific game that you play. as much as it is. When it's called the FGC is the FGC. I mean, I seen a lot of people bitch and moan that Smash even got an Evo spot. And I said, well, you know, I went to Apex, I watched these guys play. It ain't my style of game. I'll be the first to admit that. But I did find it entertaining. And I found it fun to watch. But they're no less part of the FGC as, say, Street Fighter 4 or Marvel. And that's one of the issues that, you know, I take up with the whole fighting game community, is they're very quick to say what and what isn't part of the FGC based on their preferences. You know, I mean, I've heard a lot of shit people talked about Mortal Kombat for years. And then it finally, MK9, it slowly started to get some acceptance. And then it kind of started to revert back to the, oh, you're just MK9 players.
Well, I mean, I do understand where you're coming from with that. My point is more about the fact that I don't really feel like I'm as involved enough in like the day-to-day aspects of the scene. I don't really know everything, so I can't really speak. I can't really speak from an insider's point of view with things related directly to the Mortal Kombat scene. That's all I really meant by that. I don't mean that I don't consider myself part of the community at large. It's just that I like, you know, I can't. If I say something about I can't say, you know, this is what Mortal Kombat players think, because I haven't been to a Mortal Kombat tournament since the game came out, and I haven't even really had the chance to really dialogue with them. So I can't speak for anybody but myself, and that experience I have is somewhere on the outside. So I think there's degrees of how involved you can be in the community, and although I do care a lot about the community and I'm proud of what the Mortal Kombat community has accomplished, I can't really call myself an insider from that perspective. But I'm not trying to say that you have to play at a certain level in order to be considered part of the community.
No, but you know, it's, you know, I just want you to know that whether you play the game recreationally or if you play the game in tournament level, you're still part of the scene.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things
I think we're on the same page there.
You know, a lot of other people out there see it differently, which is why I don't understand. What are you saying, James? You need to fix that stream chat just a little bit. Why do I always got to fix the stream chat just a little bit? Hold on, let me fix this stream chat. Let's see. This is a pain in my ass.
Yeah, just move it over to the left a little bit because the letters at the end are getting cut off.
Alright, let me adjust this. You know, fucking screen regions. Screen region. The dude upstairs runs like a fucking horse. Why is this guy always fucking bouncing around like a fucking horse in my house? Is that better, sir?
Yeah, it looks like it's better.
Alright.
Yeah, perfect now. All right,
perfect. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, one of the things that, you know, I mean, you know, we were having words the other day, you know, when I was mentioning about the donation thing, and you know, and I will admit I went a little bit overboard with calling the Evo guys, you know, a Madoff scheme. But you know, if you've been around as long as I have, whether you've been in the tournament scene or not, you have to sit in my shoes and understand. I've watched donation drives. I've seen donation drives for people to buy equipment, and they raise $3-4 grand, which is beautiful. I've seen, like I said earlier, 9.95 Phil do a charity stream and raise a couple of $1,000s for a 24-hour stream. But we're talking $250,000. I mean, am I the only one that's got? At least from the perspective of somebody that has been to a lot. I mean, over the last year and a half, I've been to over easily 30, close to 30 events. It looks like a fucking Grateful Dead concert. I mean, people are laying all over the floor, sharing sandwiches. I mean, if a roach comes by, they smash it and they split it between one another. I mean, it's pathetically poor. But yet somehow we managed to raise $250,000 for a charity. I found it hard to swallow. And
my response to that would be, you know, it's really easy to look at things and say, well, you know, these people don't have X amount. These people have small amounts of money for doing things like going on a trip to go to a tournament or whatever that is. But there's a whole lot of difference between that and kicking in $5 for a game that you like to get into Evo, and it maybe will get whether it wins or not, the money is going to breast cancer. I mean, now one of the things I've heard said a lot was like, well, you know, these people don't even necessarily even care about breast cancer. If it wasn't for Evo, they wouldn't be doing it. And my response to that is, why is that a bad thing? Why?
Well,
you know,
for me, I mean, I understand that.
Incentivizing.
I understand the fact, but listen,
take it up with the government.
I understand the fact of them bringing on, you know, people feeling the bribery. Triforce, lower your mic. You're like feeding back like you sound like you're in the ocean. I understand and I agree with you on that. Any way to get them to donate is fine by me. Where I stand is, you know, they said $250,000. I want the accountability side of it to be in stone. I want to see, you know, because I already said last week, I don't want to get egg on my face when I go to the New York Times and the New York Post and say, you know, you just got done blaming the fighting game community for violence, such as the shootings up in Colorado and the shootings in Connecticut. And here, I'm to show you that the fighting game community just raised $250,000 for breast cancer. So whether you have a correlation between one or the other is irrelevant. And I don't want to do that and then find out them come back and say, well, no, we only got like $20,000. We fluffed those numbers up.
Right. Well,
and I don't want to look like that asshole.
If you'll remember, though, when you mentioned on Twitter that you wanted to see more transparency, I agree with you with that. I think it does potentially produce a problem when you don't give complete information and you allow people to sort of fill in the blanks with their own answers. But having said that, I think it's also potentially destructive when you start off right from jump saying, because you're not giving the answers, and I'm going to assume this and this and this and this bad thing about you, and I'm going to tell everybody in the world about that, and then I'm putting the burden of proof on you to prove me wrong. If you're doing it, when you approach somebody like that, then the response you're likely to get is, well, is this person even worth even having a conversation with? I mean, let's take it even out of video games. Let's say that you have a celebrity, just some random celebrity, and there's somebody on a talk show somewhere that is saying all kinds of stuff about that celebrity, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. They're being accusatory. They're saying all kinds of things about that celebrity, and then come a week and a half later, they say, "Okay, you know what? We need to have a dialogue. I'm inviting you onto my show to talk about all the stuff I said about you, and you have the opportunity to prove that what I said before was wrong." How do you think that person is going to respond? They're probably not going to respond in the positive way because of the way you came at them in the first place.
But see, now originally I will say this: I had sent messages, private messages, that got no responses. It's dismissive, in my opinion. Who were you to ask anything? Basically, my tweets didn't come about from just random. I woke up one day and just said, "Let me start accusing." I had sent messages over to SRK with no responses, and that's what made me say, well, if you're not going to respond to me nicely, then I'm going to yell. And that's, maybe that's my New York attitude, maybe not, maybe it's the way I was raised, but if I'm being, I've tried to open civil dialogue at the beginning, and I know for a fact, the SRK and the Cannons and Mr. Wizard, they had no idea who I was. Up until that day, they didn't know who I was. But I could say this: Mr. Wizard did meet me, at Evo when, and I'm sorry to bring this up because I know Napalm's in the chat. When Napalm was pummeling the shit out of Wonder Chef, which, by the way, I shouldn't have pulled him off. I should have let him pummel him into the ground when I realized what a piece of shit he is. I was the one that Mr. Wizard thanked for pulling fucking Napalm away and telling him to calm down. You know, so I mean, we have met briefly, but the fact of the matter is, I did try to open up dialogue in a civil manner in the beginning. Once the civil manner didn't happen, what I felt like is the first thing that happened, and not you directly, but I felt like they sent their lackeys, as I kept using in my Twitters, you know, rather than them just say, hey, let's just talk to this guy and shut him up and talk to him. They sent, you know, in my opinion, first they sent Jeb Bailey and Keats, who were the two guys that are getting qualifiers Midwest and the one East Coast, Ski Sonic, and then by that time, what wound up happening was I was already enraged. At that point in time, I was enraged.
Hey, James, real fast, fix the overlay.
Hold on. What is it? Over it?
Yeah, overlay's on top.
Like that? You and your fucking overlay. Everybody can read. Everybody can see.
No, it's still wrong because everything else is still messed up.
What the fuck, man?
Man, the kid, I fucking you learned how to do this already, man.
Shut the fuck up.
Overlay goes on the very, very top.
Overlay. Here we go. There you go. You happy?
There you go.
All right.
Yes.
See now, but see how nice I am. Now, Natish, you could suck my dick too.
All right, shut the fuck up.
All right. Anyway.
Oh man.
Okay, I feel like I need to say something in response to that also, because for whatever reason, I'm not. Like I say, I understand if you don't know the people that how it might appear, but I can promise you that everybody who was saying something to you was not sent. I don't think, as a matter of fact, I doubt anybody was sent to respond to you. I know I damn sure wasn't.
No, I know you weren't, but I mean, let me go through. Let me.
Well, I mean, I didn't stop you from calling me all kinds of stuff at the time.
But because you know what it was, I was between getting it from all them, and like I said earlier in my show, OBS_JamessMK. All right, tells me I should get cancer. Well, would I tell myself that? No. All of a sudden, these magically cloned accounts come up. OBS Gerbil MK, whatever the fuck it was. All these other fake accounts started popping up and throwing shit at me. Now, one of my issues with it is this. All right, like I said, first it was Bailey and it was Keats. All right, Keats is an SRK guy. Ski Sonic, who I happen to respect, is also an SRK guy. And I feel that after those three didn't work in shutting me up, you know, by that time I was totally fucking pissed. Then Spooky came, and I love Vic. Vic's a great guy, and Arturo as well. But I was so enraged at the fact that a simple question couldn't get answered. That meanwhile, Mr. Wizard had the time and the patience to insult CD Jr. during all this, that he still wouldn't address the actual issue is there going to be transparency with the money? Or are we supposed to just assume this big check for $250,000 is going to go there? If it was a simple yes and no, there will be transparency, I would have shut my mouth.
And again, I'll say the same thing I said at the time about that. The presentation makes a huge difference. If it did not come off at all from a outsider's perspective as I'm just asking a simple question, because I've already told you that I agree with you that there should be a higher level of transparency. I've said the same thing to you. I said the same thing about this. I've said the same thing, and Arturo is a friend of mine also. And I've repeatedly told him, like, one of the things he keeps doing was talk about that he does a lot of times. It's like, yo man, the fighting game community and MLG, we just don't understand things. I mean, I think people need to talk it out. They don't really have the right. They think things are one way, but if people could just talk, but I can't really talk about it. It's like, okay, if you can't talk about it, then shut up. We don't need to know half the information. It doesn't help anybody. All it does is it gives somebody to try to guess. It gives somebody a reason to guess. It doesn't solve anything. Giving us half the information is only going to make people wonder, okay, what's the other half? And so I 100% agree with you that they could be more transparent. But at the same time, that does not change the impression that was made. And the impression, I'm telling you from the perspective of a person who likes MK, who enjoys the game and really respects what the scene has been able to do without depending on, players from other games to sustain it. That is able to repeatedly get, well, I mean, it's basically a self-sustaining scene, which is what I think the scene on the whole should strive to do, without having to depend on outside resources just to be able to keep up with itself. But coming from the perspective of anybody else who is not as familiar, it just sounds like, who is this guy and why is he saying all this crazy stuff, and why does he not seem to want to listen to reason, and why is he going as far as he will to assume the absolute worst and tell everybody who wants to listen the absolute worst, just because, more or less. That's what it feels. That's what it seems like.
And people, I could understand if people
coming from a place of already understanding beforehand.
Now, the other issue, which was really wrapped up in this, was the fact that they took away all Evo points from the East Coast. Yet they wouldn't give an answer. Like, nobody came out and said it, except, the people on the West Coast said, well, shit, I guess you're just going to have to travel. Well, what about the people that just couldn't travel? I personally, like I said, I could give a rat's ass about the Evo points. They don't do nothing for somebody unless you earn them, and to be honest, I ain't never earned them. But it's a combination of that with this secretiveness, of just out of the blue, years Evo qualifiers were on the East Coast, and now all of a sudden they just decided to stop with no answer. So I mean, that's why what I want to know is the simple reasoning of why is this. If the canons and Mr. Wizard are truly about the community, and trust me when I say this, I wish everybody could make a buck from this. I don't want nobody to not make. If you have an opportunity to make money, go for it. But just remember, it's just like when you go mining in a mine. If you take out all the fucking whatever it is, gold, silver, copper, whatever the hell you find in them, when you take it all out, it's gone. So if you don't nurture it and do it the right way, you're not going to reap the rewards for long. And I just feel like, as a whole, what I'm starting to see is a breakaway from the East and the West Coast. And I'd heard rumors, through the grapevine about a lot of stuff. And until I hear fact, I'm not TMZ. I don't go out there and just say, oh, God, there's something going on over here. Let me find out and make it into a story. Now,
besides that shit with the bracket rigging, I mean, that was our TMZ moment. That's about it.
No, the bracket rigging was, I mean, that shit that goes on.
That was a TMZ moment there, man. Come on, that was a major blow up.
But it's something that happened, and it happened, and it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here. I'm not here to ostracize the community. I certainly don't. I want to see, and it's funny because I have Triforce on here with me, and everybody breaks his balls, and to this day I've still yet to figure out why. What is the reasoning why Triforce is so bad? Now, I've been to Triforce's pad, when he was living in New York. Didn't step foot in it. Let me tell you, he ain't living in Beverly Hills, guys. So he ain't fucking ripping people off and making all this money. He's all I see is a guy who's done his part to try and help the community as best as he can. And the fact that somebody called me a white Triforce, though it proves just how racist this community can be, I don't mind being a white Triforce if that's what it means. Just to say, hey, look, I want the fighting game community as a whole to grow. Let's be real here. The community has been stagnant for how long? MLG came along. They threw the MK guys a bone. They tried to throw the other guys a bone to basically throw them into the 21st century. But what did it accomplish? Soul Calibur fell apart. King of Fighters fell apart. What other games were there that they try? Anybody? Natus?
I don't know.
How many other fighting games did they try to do?
King of Fighters, Tekken.
Tekken.
Before Tekken.
Tekken. Yeah, Tekken.
Well, Tekken. Well, that was the first time Tekken bombed. The second time it didn't bomb, they just stopped the fighting game. Fucking.
And then MK and Skullgirls they did for a while too, I believe.
They just did one exhibition on Skullgirls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Mortal Kombat proved to have some numbers, which kept it alive. And, you know, it's sad, you know, because I looked like the bad guy, the anti-MLG, and I never was. My biggest thing was I just didn't want people to get on this high horse, and when it disappeared, everybody will go crying into napkins saying, oh, what did they do? Why did they abandon us? They didn't abandon us. It's business. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I still see people going, oh, they're going to announce it any day now. They're not going to announce it, guys. MLG is done with the fighting games for now. For now. You know, I don't understand the method that people have of realizing that, yes, you can make money in this business. You know, hey, IPL, you know, dump MLG, IPL. I'm not going to say, you know, anything negative against IPL. Whatever's going to help this community grow, I'm all for it. I'm all for VXG. Believe it or not, if you go to Evo, that's cool. I'm not going to deny you and say, oh, you're some kind of traitor. I went to Evo. I had an okay time. I didn't have it. I will say this, nothing against Evo. I've had more fun at Big E's tournaments. I had more fun at whatchamacallit, Russell. Apex. I had a great time at Apex. I honestly didn't. Watching a game, I don't even play. Watching a game, I don't even play. I had a great time. I had a great time at Toryukin with Neo Russell. This year I plan on getting down to final round. I missed it last year. From what I've heard, Shin Blanca runs an excellent tournament down there, so I'll be sure to get down there for that. ECT, I've had a great time. I've had fun at the MLGs. Yes, I did. Columbus was a great time. Seasons beatings in Ohio, I had a good time. So, I mean, my whole concern is that, hey, make your money. Do what you got to do. Don't bullshit people. You know, what you make is up to you. I'm not. It ain't none of my business. If you can make $200,000 at your event and make it fun, all the power to you. But if you're going to do an event and cut corners and do things to fuck people, then I got a problem with that. You know, because a tournament is not only supposed to be an experience of just playing a game so the top players can make $5 or $6 and everybody else go home with a sad face. It's supposed to be about going to a place like a convention and having fun. You know, and that's the part of it I don't understand. If you go to a tournament and you come back saying I didn't have fun, then it's not a good tournament. And yes, I did have fun at Evo. I had more fun drinking and hanging out with chicks than I did playing games, but I would say that at any tournament, to be honest with you guys. You know, Chris, like I said, I know I came off. I don't want to say I came off like a dick, but I came off like a dick. And I'll even give you my apologies. I apologize that I came off like that. And this ain't me going into my soft moment. I don't.
Pussy.
I don't regret saying. Shut up, Dick. I don't regret saying what I said. I regret the way I delivered the message.
And really, like I said, that was basically my primary concern. I mean, I care less at this point. I care less about the situation as it went down than I do, you know, trying to prevent blowups like that in the future, because I feel like you know, in order to make things grow, you know, people have to be. You kind of have to put a hand out and say, look, it doesn't matter what you think of me. This is my personal approach. It doesn't matter what you think of me. It doesn't matter if you give me the response I'm looking for. I know what I need to. I know what I want to accomplish, and I'm not gonna let that. I'm not gonna let anybody get in the way. And a lot of what's been going on has been headed in that direction. Like, for example, the announcement that's going to be made later on that I've already, you know, seen and heard about. And so I mean, these things are good, but I mean, it's important, you know, almost more important than the actual message is the way the message is delivered, because it's just like, you know, when people didn't respond to you the way that you felt like they should have responded to you, and you got mad about it, and you said, okay, well, screw them, here's what I'm going to do. The same thing goes back the other way, and then you end up with this cycle of resentment, and nothing gets accomplished.
Yeah, but I
And
mean,
so,
I do think this. I do think, to a degree, and I hate to say it because I'm not a Twitter whore. I don't give a shit if I got 1 follower, no followers, or 1 million followers. You know, but I got to admit, the more mad I got, the more followers I got, which I find very ironic. Even like on this show, you know, I go from talking nicely and everything's good, and we'll maintain our 150 people, and then all of a sudden I'll go into a tirade telling the world to suck my dick and lick my balls, and my fucking viewership goes up to 400 or 500 people in 10 minutes. The community loves controversy.
Well, that's not unique to the community, though. Let's be real. Yeah,
no, it's not. It's not. It's not unique just to the community. It's on anything. I mean, would you rather watch, you know, a fireman on the news saving a cat out of a tree, or a guy getting hit by a car in a bloody mess? You'd probably put the bloody mess on, you know. Right. But the point is, in order for this community to actually start to grow, people got to start to realize the community is what controls the community's fate, not the tournaments. The tournaments are just a vessel for us to express ourselves, basically. You know, and I'm not, you know, last week I told everybody pretty much, whoever goes to VXG, you get a free shirt if you send me an email saying you're not going to Evo. You know what, if you go there, I don't give a shit if you go there. If you come down to freaking to VXG, you're still getting a shirt. I don't give a shit. You know, but my point is, it's like, if you turn around and you add the controversy in there, people have a tendency more to listen. Now, maybe the person that you're focused on trying to convey the message to goes into shutdown mode, but everybody else, as everybody says, the stream monsters and the trolls, they'll sit there and they'll eat it up. They love it.
They'll definitely eat it up. But at the end of the day, is people just eating it up accomplishing anything? That's the question you have to ask.
But now, depending on the message, it opened up, you know, and if you noticed, once I started to say stuff, other people started to raise those same questions as well. You know, at that point is when I really started to calm down, is when I said, look, other people are now asking the questions. Let's see if somebody will get the answers. Maybe there'll be a person that comes along that asks it a lot nicer than me.
And that's all. To make a point, that was actually a series of questions that was on Smashboards at the beginning of the donation drive, where there were some people who were saying, there were a handful of people who were like, okay, well, what if they try to cheat us out of the money? And there was even a discussion that was that was held between a very small subset of that community. I don't want to act like everybody was trying to say this, but there were some people there who were like, okay, maybe we should all donate to this one account, and then if we don't win, or if we feel like they're not going to represent things right, then we can just pull the money back, right? And here's the thing, and so, you know, that sentiment was not unique to you. That's the thing I'm trying to get across, is that you're not the only one who had that concern. You're not the only one who voiced that concern. But there's a difference in the way it is conveyed can produce a difference in results. And I'll tell you from my personal experience with them. Normally, and it's funny because I know for example, Mr. Wizard is a funny one. And first of all, just to let you know, I am by no means a lackey. If you look,
I like that word though. You know what? You know where I learned that word? Reading Marvel comics.
Well, I mean, Marvel comic villains and cartoon villains have the best choices of words anyway. I mean, where else would you ever hear the word diabolical used on a regular basis? You never hear that out in regular life, right? That's why, I mean, I try to use words like that as much as possible just to see if anybody else can relate to it. But anyway, that's not my point. The main thing is, like, Mr. Wizard will hate on all kinds of stuff, and then he'll turn around and then it won't matter. Like, for example, he talked all kinds of crap about Street Fighter Cross Tekken and it still ended up in EVO. He talked all kinds of crap about Persona 4 Arena, it still ended up in EVO. And the one thing that's funny about that is I have taken him to task a lot. We've had a number of falling outs. I give him crap about the way SRK is run all the time. If you want to, you can go through the history of the feedback forum and you can find examples of me talking all kinds of stuff to them about how they run things, about how I go to the feedback section and there's like a whole bunch of spam threads in there that have not been deleted or closed, and you can't get a good answer to any kind of real feedback thing. That was when they were hiring writers. I write for a living. So when they were hiring writers, people kept telling me, hey, maybe you should sign up and be a writer for SRK. I'm like, no, because I do not want to be in a position where I might have to be subservient. And that's the way I felt about it. So I am by no means a lackey. But at the same time, I try to stay moderate enough and see both sides of things so I can try to understand where everybody is coming from. And that's the approach I've always taken. And so when somebody seems to be going off like on an extreme tangent, what I'm trying to do is get people to say, hold up for a second. I understand where you're coming from over here, but let me tell you what it looks like over there, and maybe we can get together in the middle and really understand what's going on.
Well, I mean, when I tweeted out today, I think I did it very civilly. I said anybody that wants to come on and discuss it. Jeb Bailey hit me up. He said he couldn't come this week. He can come next week, which is fine. I don't want to drag this thing out for 35 episodes of this, only for the simple fact that it does get boring after a while, and people don't want to hear about as much of the drama as people may think.
Drama can only live so long.
Well, drama will live forever, but everybody needs, a different soap opera every week. You can't listen to it can't. I try not to. Last week I ended it on a cutoff, and I did it, unintentionally, but I felt like it wasn't completed. That's why I figured I'd reach out to everybody that I spoke with. But to me, and I will say this: people like Keats, Ski Sonic, they're too good to deal with little old me. And that's exactly
they're not too good to deal with little old you. I don't know if you realize it, but they're actually doing their own talk show right this minute. So obviously they couldn't be on this one. And a simple response would have been in order then. Say, hey, look, I got my own thing going on. When somebody sends me a message on Twitter, even if it's a chick turning around to me and say, hey, let's have some cam sex or some shit, I'm like, sorry, doesn't float my boat, I'm not into it. It's definitely not my style, but hey, I'll at least respond to you. So at least hey, look, I can't come on right now. Maybe next week, that's fine. So I'll leave my open invitation. Now, I know they got their show going on. I don't know what time their show ends.
Any minute right now.
So, I mean, once again, my invitation is to them. If they're not too tired, then more than welcome to come on. I said if I was wrong, I would apologize. What is this? Hold on a second.
But yeah, that goes back to my other point where, you know, the way you present yourself in the beginning has a lot to do with the way you receive later on. And
I would have to disagree. And let me just chime in for a second here. In my experience with the fighting game scene as a whole, especially coming with a lot of the different influential personalities in the scene, regardless of how you introduce yourself, they select and choose what topics they want to address, and at their time and discretion. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but if someone engages you and asks you a question, and you do not want to answer that question, or you don't wish to get involved in that, there's a certain level of consideration you're supposed to have. Letting a person know, listen, I understand your points of view and stuff like that, I'm not interested. Thank you very much for your time. That is the professional way to do things. However, it's not done that way. The way they handle things is, who the hell are you? We'll talk to you when we want to talk to you. In fact, whatever the problem is, we don't care because you're a nobody, and it's going to happen this way regardless. And that's just the end of it. And this is not me going off of my opinion. This is me going off of just the experience that I've dealt with throughout the scene. You contact some of these people and you try to talk to them as best as possible, and they don't respect you at all. This is why I within the last 4 to 5 years, I've been the way I am, and people are like, well, Triforce, why are you so angry? I'm so angry because the scene, first of all, the fighting game community is one of the most putrid, underdeveloped scenes there is. And what I mean by underdeveloped is because there's so much resources that the scene has to offer, yet the most influential people who are helping to so-called develop it are doing everything in their power to keep it under their reign for themselves and not sharing it. This is not my opinion. This is a fact. Everyone's going to say I'm delusional, I'm crazy, I need to go back to school, some other crap or whatever the case may be, and then they'll write it off as that I'm some, messianic, delusional idiot who's trying to do his own thing in gaming and whatever, my power glove and whatever, avoiding the real topics. So I found that the best way this community responds is through controversy, and drama. Every other community I go to does not have this problem, except for the fighting game community. People listen, heads turns when you bring up real issues in a WWE manner. So when you start speaking out like CM Punk, and I know you guys are gonna like, look at this idiot's, he's trying to compare things to CM Punk.
Yo,
but that's
CM
the
Punk
point.
is the fucking man, dude. Sorry,
Yeah,
man. You gotta keep talking, man.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. When you act like CM Punk and you start spilling out their dirt and you're putting the facts behind some of the stuff that you're saying, then the people become aware.
Pipe bomb.
And then everyone starts to get involved in what's going on. So that's the only way you're going to ever be respected. Another way to be respected is if you're a top player. If you're a top player, you got a huge influence. If Justin Wong was to ever make a complaint about something and he voiced his opinion, they would contact him, or they would have some form of contact, whether it be public or private, to address whatever his concerns are. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that Justin Wong does have a lot of weight in the community, and they don't want things to, it's all about control. At the end of the day, this is all about control. And the best, like MK James, who's MK James to them? He's a nobody. He's in the Mortal Kombat, who gives a shit, blah, blah, blah. So he's not important. But like if MK James, if James, let's say Filipino Champ says, I wonder where all that money is going through from Evo, a response will happen because they understand the reach Filipino Champ has. And it's one thing to have 200-something people on the On Blast show being told that the money is not being audited properly, versus someone like Spooky, who has 30 million viewers and over 20,000 subscriptions. So they can pick and choose who they need to address and who they do not need to address. And this happens on such a level, it is ridiculous. I understand a lot of political things happen in the scene. I've dealt with different entities. I've been in board meetings with different companies and watched my so-called enemies talk bad about me, and I just sit in the background and say absolutely nothing while they continue to disparage my name and discredit me and tell people that Empire Arcadia is a toxic brand, you shouldn't do this with them, why are you working with them, you're putting yourself in a bad position, to people I've done nothing against. And at the very same time, those same people, you're like, well, why don't you speak out about this? They can't. Or I should say they won't, because they do not want to get themselves involved in any drama-based topics, because you cannot control drama. It's drama. Drama is chaos, and people like the chaos and the hype. So they make sure they don't get involved in any of those things. They get involved in things they know that they have the control for. Now, once you threaten their control, then they send their goons or their lackeys to want to talk to you. And a lot of you guys are going to be like, well, they don't really send. Yes, they do. They don't. It's not public. When someone says something about Evo or about any other influentially named brand thing, there's a channel. It's called IRC. I don't know if you guys know about that. It's one of the oldest channels there is in this particular community.
Let me interject there for 1 second. I just so the
protocol
Illuminatis that be out there, I do know about the IRC Capcom 3 on EFNet. Just so you know, I do troll in there too.
I have 6 IRC accounts, going all the way back down to Pound SRK, Pound Capcom, and so forth, where I just leave those windows open and on whenever I get a chance, and I record the chats just so I can spy on what's being said about who and what. And that's just one of the channels that we're not DMs that from Twitters that you can't get, Facebook groups, Skype conversations, and things of that nature, where these guys have these conversations literally like, wow, yo, did you hear what happened? Yo, I was on Twitter the other day and MK James said blah, 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 blah. Yo, he's going to blah, blah. And they sit down and they discuss, well, who's this guy? Well, he's really a no one. Like, what's his power? What's his network? What's his reach? Well, he runs this thing called the MK Show, blah, blah, blah. They'll type up Twitch TV on blast, boom, they come, 97,000 viewers. When did this channel start? It's about like 6 months in the making. They only got 97,000 views. How many subscriptions? 400. Ignore him. That's what they do. They've been doing. This is actually. It's not a thing about. It's not an SRK thing. It's not an Evo thing. That's just what people in power in any industry, any infrastructure, any community do. They have to weigh who you respond to and whatever the case may be. And the problem is that the people within the scene have this. They're just in denial. They're naive. They want to act like, no, they won't do that, blah, blah, blah. Here's a prime example. I'm just going to throw one example out there, right? 2, in fact, and they all both come from SRK. Cross Tekken last year didn't do so well. The game is actually good, but it really didn't do so well. Ono got in trouble because of certain things with the game and blah, blah, blah. Seth Killian moved on to Sony, yada, 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 a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Wizard came out and said, Cross Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken will not be at Evolution next year. His word killed the game. Dominion, Justin, Sanford, myself, Jerron, Dragon God, and all the guys, Jibbo, Wolfcrone, we all went on Twitter like, oh my goodness, blah, blah, blah. I even made a Twitter said, and with one statement, Evolution killed the game to showcase their power. Now the game gets a patch. Now the powers that be have gotten involved and blah, blah, blah. And what was once said, a new tweet comes out from Mr. Wizard. Guys, play what you love, for we have not decided what's going to be at Evo, and you'll never know what game. Oh, that's right. The 2013 patch of Cross Tekken is coming out.
Someone must have said something wrong that they should not have said, and now we need to try to do damage control. That's pretty much what this is. It's like let's compare that something like that to real life, about the things that go on in the background. In 600 years, no pope has ever stepped down. And every time a pope has ever stepped down is from the decree of the Roman emperor. 600 years later, the first pope has stepped down since that time. Oh, he can't deal with it, whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. Now, the world eats it up because the world's naive. But do you really believe that that's exactly what happens? If I was to believe everything that came online, on the news and the internet, I would be, actually, the world is like that. The world is stupid. You know, a person is smart, people are dumb. And that's just the reality of it. So the way MK James is acting towards evolution, me personally, I can't sit there and actually say, I can't actually say that we all have, we're not like, we don't have critical thinking and we can't look outside the box. But for the most part, these people support the stupidity that happens. When they gave us our East Coast qualifier, everyone was like, see, everyone's bashing Evo like they're evil. They gave the East Coast a qualifier and so forth and blah, blah, blah. Like, really? No, they didn't. They did that after the fact. And if they had said, we apologize for our transgression against the East Coast due to bad judgment, it was an oversight for us not giving a qualifier to a coast that has helped the fighting game community. And because of that, we would like to award East Coast, a Northeast qualifier, blah, blah, blah. That would have been a more sincere effort in giving the East Coast a qualifier. No, MK James and myself had to rant and rave and getting all these people and talking, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, if that's going to be the case, I'm going to go to VXG because that's the Northeast qualifier. That's the Northeast Evo. All of a sudden, East Coast gets they had to be threatened. If it was just me and MK James just arguing and said nothing and VXG never got into an issue, it would have never been an issue. And now people are going to say, but Triforce, you can't prove that. Let me tell you something right now. I'm going to say this to the community. I've been involved with meetings where they sent goons to speak to Rolando because now all of a sudden they want to work it out. They want to work it out. Really? When we came to y'all months ago, it didn't want to get worked out. The reason why we don't make a complaint about it is because it's like, all right, fine, we're going to work it out because for us, it's just about the community. We want the community to be able to enjoy evolution. We want the community to be able to enjoy Evo on VXG. This is not a VXG versus Evo thing. It should have never had come down to this, but it had to come down to this for there to be some type of compromise, which is ridiculous. Like, really, if you think about it, do you really think Evo would have had an MK9 if not for VXG support? Honestly speaking, does anyone really thought there would have been an MK9 brought back to Evo? Does anyone know about
since you have said that repeatedly, can you please explain the connection because I cannot understand it at all?
Okay, so let me explain this. And I'll say this to you guys because I'll explain to you guys what politics means, what actual politics is. Despite me not liking some of these people, and I'm sure the feeling is mutual, I understand a code of ethics in politics. There's some things you just do not tell the public because the public cannot handle the truth properly. Politicians' jobs are to make sure that we feed the mass population with information.
Triforce, let me just put you on pause a second.
Yes.
I just threw up on the stream here, just, so everybody sees, because, I'm a fair guy. You got Wake Up SRK, you got Ultra Chen TV, you got Cross Counter Live, and you got That Show Sucks. They're all SRK shows. Are they SRK shows, all four of those?
No, only one is actually an SRK show.
So I guess I guess I'm not trying to say I want, but am I chopped liver? You couldn't. I mean, now NYChrisG, do you recall having a? I think I went through it about 2 weeks ago. The lovely letter that you received from Mr. Wizard about us just trying to promote our show on SRK.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show.
Basically, did he kind of in a nice way tell us to piss off?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And I'm the one telling you need to be a little nicer on how you fucking address people.
Exactly.
See, now people, let's look at the chat when I made that statement about MK and VXG, and everyone's like, you say you have some people who automatically race to the defense of evolution. And that is exactly where their power stands at. And it's really based on the power of ignorance. People do not know what goes on behind the scenes. Now, unlike some of them, I do not take it personally. I understand the game of politics. It's the nature of it. I've accepted the nature of it. So I don't act like a little brat when I'm losing in certain political areas. I'm like, oh, well, since I'm going to lose, I'm just going to blow this all out in the open. No, I don't do that because there's a risk in doing things like that. You risk the community. You risk the community when you do that. So we have to find other ways of combating that particular political situation without creating a civil virtual war within the community or so forth. So for those who are asking, like saying Triforces, blah blah blah, I'm telling you guys something. If you sat next to me and look at the windows I have open and see the information that is trafficking and what's going on from the lowest community circuit in video games to the highest in esports, you would then understand why they create that term, the video game Illuminati. There are people in power, just like in real life, government people who their hands move and you move with it unknowingly. This is how it works. But you have some people who will fight for the people and those who fight for those that are in power, which is the nature of society. And that's just the way it is. It's a nice little game. It's like playing chess. I like the game, and that's why I play it. But like, I'm in a position now where I can't do this ranting and screaming and such and blah, 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 and whatnot. Why? Because of money. I'm being paid to what's the word for this? To censor how I give out my messages. So unfortunately, Triforce will not be able to go on the blah, 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 F-bomb this, F-bomb that, and this, and that. I won't be able to do that. However, I will find another way to get the very same message across and still play the political chess game for the benefit of the community and the further development for our culture, community, and industry. Do not be deceived in believing that I will not still fight. I will still fight. Now, why am I, as I said, why am I doing it? I'm doing it for money, because the money I want to take that money and put it back into the scene and help the players, help the scene as a whole, give it a better exposure and things of that nature, and let everyone have a greater experience, because this is my passion and that's what I love to do. So I didn't mean to go on a full raging tangent, but I just wanted to put that out there, that the way MK James is going about it is the way he has to until he gets more power. Now, when MK James starts getting in 12,000 viewers and he's in the tens of millions of total views and his subscription is past 10,000, then he won't need to do that. But until then, he'll need to continue to do this, because it's the only way his voice will be heard and people will take it seriously, and he'll have some type of fighting chance. Speaking to SRK directly, well, DarKNaTaS, they've kindly told you to piss off when you ask them to have your show on their website. Now, did you go to them in a civil manner?
Yes, I did. I've been going to a civil manner for a while.
NYChrisG is my civility. I am not civil. I have no qualms about telling people. I'm as civil as you are to me. When you're a dick to me, I'll be tenfold dick to you. Everybody that's known me for 20, 30, 40 years, knowing that's the way I am, and I ain't going to change. I don't do this show to make a fucking penny. I don't do this to get millions of
making
Twitter
money.
followers. Yeah. I mean, we haven't even made enough to buy a goddamn pack of cigarettes. But
carton,
you know,
carton for you.
he's always been my civility. He's you know, whenever I want to go off, usually he's the first one that's telling me no. But it gets to a point, and maybe it's the way my pop raised me, that if you allow people to see you as a pussy, you will be treated as a pussy, and that's even in business.
And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And people may say, "Oh, but they're very professional." No, listen. Let me explain something to you guys. This community about professionalism, and we need to get this. We need to get this this understanding with this community and this scrap. In the fighting game community, there is none zero with the there's one exception. There's always an exception to the rule. So let me recant my statement. There is only one. No, I take it back. Zero. There are absolutely none in the fighting game community. Absolutely no professional entities in the fighting game community. No professional entities. There is not a single entity remaining in the fighting game community. Notice I stress the word remaining in the fighting game community that is like Sundance.